Are we paying these people to front up, or are we paying them to fly to Wellington to eat their lunch? Should you really lose your career for refusing to take part in a 90-minute lesson about Māori culture? This government doesn't actually have any idea how to get economic growth. Show us what you made of, Prime Minister.
Editor-in-Chief with Duncan, Garner.
Okay, so it's Men's Health Week, and we're diving into key topics that men don't talk about enough. Man, we're bad at this, aren't we? Mental health, lifestyle habits, sexual health, all that sort of thing. We can't offer medical advice, and the views shared today are those of our guest. If you've got personal health questions, please speak with your doctor or pharmacist, of course. And joining us today is BBM's Dave Letele, here to talk about diabetes and obesity. Dave, thanks for joining us, mate. Nice to see you.
Thanks for having me, brother.
You're very welcome. Hey, you know, all the work you do in the community, what do you think some of the challenges that people face when they first learn that they're living with diabetes or obesity? What is it that challenges them initially?
I think a lot of it is, a lot of the times people don't even get tested because of the fear.
Yeah.
Some of them had a blood pressure so high that they're bordering on a stroke because they just don't go to the GPs. They present to the hospital when it's almost too late. And so that's why, what we're trying to do is, get them in early to, try and build a fence before the edge of the cliff,
Yeah.
And then when they are sort of diagnosed with it, a lot of the time it's shame, and they don't even tell their family about it.
Yeah.
So we just try and, work them through that.
What do you reckon the myths are, those common myths or misunderstandings that, people have about the conditions? Because you're right, they don't go to the doctor because they know the answer already. They know what's about to hit them. So what are the myths or misunderstandings you reckon people have about them?
I think if you look in the sort of general public, a lot of the times it's, I think the most common one we see is that they just, people say, just laziness. Sure, that's a part of it, but there's part of, the environment, where you're living, how rich or poor you are. All these things play a massive role. You're living in a deprived neighborhood. You're surrounded by bad choices. They're right at your fingertips.
Yeah.
Every single thing that's bad for you is right there. And if you're, you might be working a couple of jobs just to keep food on the table. You're always going to choose what's quick, affordable, and accessible, and in deprived areas, that's always nasty crap. You get that for your family, then you're not teaching your kids how to cook, and this is where we're at.
Yeah.
That even our children don't know the basics of reading food labels. Then they're getting those crappy energy drinks and pies on the way to school. They just don't know any better.
Yeah.
And this is the cycle that's going round and round and round, right? That's why and from the couch, we're educating the whole family.
Yeah, because that's the thing, isn't it? In your experience, and you look at this, you look at those deprived areas. How do lifestyle factors like being able to move, being able to be get fitter, food habits, we talked about that, and stress. How do they show up in conversations about health when you're talking to these people? Because every box they tick, when you sit down with these guys.
Yeah, we keep it very. You've been part of BBM for a long time, Duncan. We keep it real. We talk about it. It's not just exercise. Health is not just exercise. People see us and think it's just boot camp, but we have a community kitchen where we educate. Just today over in back home, we took our West from the couch to the supermarket, how to shop healthy for while on a budget for your large family. All these basic things, and we don't sugarcoat it. If you want it, it's not easy. Easy part is sitting on the couch eating and drinking crap. That's easy.
Yeah.
The hard part is undoing a lifetime of bad habits, but it's worth it. That's what we try. It's all up here, the mindset, trying to work through what's your why? Why do you have to do this? Why do you have to keep going? And
when you take people into the supermarket like today, it's news to them, and it's new to them that, maybe you stick to the outside of the supermarket where there's fresh food, where there's healthier food. And yes, sure, you've got to watch price, but you can show them for the first time where the good stuff is.
Yeah, and also, showing them cheaper cuts of meat, showing them how to buy within season, so that your veggies aren't as expensive. And a lot of the times, Duncan, a lot of the people we're working with, they haven't been to the supermarket in years. Lots of the people, there's one particular guy called Matthew. He turned up from the couch a couple of years ago on a walking frame, couldn't walk. He's now walking, helping to mentor out west. He could let you know exactly how many tiles were on his neighbour's roof and the patterns they were in because he was stuck there for over a decade.
Yeah. That's remarkable. That is transformational what you've done, isn't it? And it takes time, and it takes the person wanting to do it, and they've got to have a why, right? So his why is, I wanted to survive, really, wasn't it?
Mm. Yeah, you got to have a really. It's like with any addiction. Any addiction. If you want to overcome that, first the person has to want to overcome it. So many times it's a family member coming, and I always say it needs to be the person who needs to change.
Yeah.
That it needs to be that person to reach out to me, because unless if it's not that person, he won't or she won't want to change. She won't do what it takes.
Yeah.
They have to reach that rock bottom, like any addiction, to the point where I say, "Hey, this is it now." You know, I have to go.
And you've seen a number of those people. How do people, do you find, talk about genetics or family history when it comes to their health journeys? Do they know about it? Do they talk about it? Do you try and get them to open up about it?
Yeah, no, it's not a topic that they definitely don't talk about. Again, a lot of it's embarrassment and shame. And, you think that a lot of these families, I mean, this is a generational thing. And also, if you look at stats, I mean, Māori Pacifica, we're overrepresented in every stat. I think Māori are twice as likely to get type 2 diabetes than non-Māori. So genetics do play a role in it. But again, the reason why we don't talk about it is because a lot of the times people will just slam back saying it's just an excuse.
Yeah, yeah.
But, like we always say, there is no excuse. It's a common thing, There's one guy that I think we're going to post about. We posted about earlier today, actually, a guy called Peel. He was on 10 types of medication. In 1 year, lost 100 kilos.
Wow.
No longer type 2 diabetic and is off all of his meds. Now, imagine the savings just on him that we've given the system that as taxpayers.
Yeah, it does seem madness when you've saved more than just a life there. You've saved a whole future of taxpayers' dollars going down that tube there and saving him, and you've reversed it. And a lot of people won't realise that you can reverse it with the right kind of support. What kind of support do you reckon people need the most when they're trying to make these long-term lifestyle changes? I mean, I know going to you is a one-stop shop. What is it that they need the most when they're making this change?
Well, they need belief that it's possible. You need a strong why, and look, it's quite basic if you look at what we do. So we wrap around people that are all on the same journey together. They all have that same purpose, where the destination they're heading. They're being led by people that have all been in their shoes. The lived experience part, they're being led by people that have lost enormous amounts of weight, but not just the weight. They've, some of them have overcome, suicidal thoughts, of all these different things, and we educate them how to eat properly, how to shop properly, how to read food labels, how to cook healthy on a budget. And then exercise is just a part of it. It's access to good, healthy kai, access to housing, all these different things, education. That's health.
Yeah.
I guess it's, we operate on the Te Whare Tapawha health model, or formal whale, all these things all these terms thrown at us that we didn't even know about it. We were just doing it. It's innate. It's in us.
Yeah. And to sustain those changes, you got to start right at the front there. When you sustainable housing, decent housing, not moving every 6 weeks and having housing that's, dry. And I know it sounds like a cliche, but it all starts with that firm base, that solid foundation, doesn't it? That would surely help them sustain their journey, having those basics.
Yeah, you've got to have the basics of life to live. We're helping people, I mean, even some, one of our staff members is constantly moving. It's you think about what that does to the children. If you don't have a stable household, you're constantly working. If you're in Auckland and you've only got one person working in your family, good luck.
Yeah.
Most of the times, if you do have a job, both parents are working. Sometimes one of them's multiple jobs. There's just not only a lot of our people struggling financially, poor, but we're also time poor. So
you're always racing around. How are they emotionally and psychologically?
I mean, yeah, we test, we run mental health surveys at the start and at the end of our From the Couch program. And even in our other programs that we run, like Mums and Bubs, and just the
Yeah,
general boot camps and youth stuff that we do, lots of the members are thinking of having suicidal thoughts daily,
yeah,
daily. And that's why with our Massey University research that we had, I know you've seen it, Duncan, the
yeah,
Massey University research, the people at Massey couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe they've never seen the results that they've seen in this survey over 3 years of people all getting healthier blood pressure, sugar levels, heart, everything, as well as getting happier.
yeah. When they start to lose weight and they start to feel better, they look at themselves in the mirror and they go, "Wow, I'm looking younger and I can move," and the clothes start to fall off you, and that's got to be the motivation in itself, doesn't it? I mean, when you get to that point, you probably don't need to motivate them because they will start to get into this zone of, I want more of this, so success breeds success.
100%, man. Once you can start looking at yourself in the mirror again, because I mean, we all know what that's like. We don't look at ourselves in the mirror
Try not to.
when we're feeling, down in the dumps like that. Physically and emotionally, mentally. When you start feeling your clothes feeling better, you start feeling better about yourself. You start liking start liking the reflection again, and yes, it drives you to want to do more. Drives you to want to eat better, to get the bit by bit. So first of all, you just got to get the basics. People try and jump too far ahead and start eating like they have a living dietitianist, nutritionist, and eating chicken and broccoli every day and exercising 2-3 times a day. That's not maintainable.
Yeah.
Build a solid foundation. You'll start getting results. You'll start feeling better, and you'll want to naturally add more. But you got to have that solid foundation first.
You want to surround yourself with those sort of people too. So you want to surround yourself with people, perhaps you're doing the same thing, because otherwise you might surround yourself with people still doing the other stuff. That's going to take you down. It's being around the good things, good people, good messages, right?
It's like, and that's not just with health. We try and, a lot of times people say, well, what about my family? I know you can't choose your family, but you can be the example for them.
Yeah,
and that's what we keep saying. You just got to keep pushing.
If and I know you're busy, and I'll make this my last question, Dave. But if someone wants to support a loved one that might be struggling, what are some helpful ways they can show up? And based on your experience and what you've seen and experienced, what can people do? What's the best thing they can do?
Man, it's super hard as a family member, like with any addiction. You can't be like you can't like be an ear basher to them, like, because they'll just you'll drive them more away.
Yeah.
But just try and, again, just try and lead by example and invite them. If you're going for a walk, if you're not walking, start walking. So you got to lead by example. You can't tell someone to do something if you're not doing it yourself.
Yeah.
So just start leading by example and just inviting them. Inviting them out to what you're doing, and don't make it too hard. Just make it like something where it doesn't seem like exercise, and just be supportive, but don't try and keep ramming it down their throat, because you'll actually drive them away. You got to do it bit by bit.
Yeah, and I think that was your success, when we all signed up with you and looked at what you're doing. And you'd been on your journey, you'd lost all that weight, you got fitter, and you changed your life. And so we went to there and we saw you doing it, and we saw you becoming a different guy. And it was motivating for people. So that's the sort of people that people need to be around, because it's infectious, and I think that's where the success is, right?
Yeah, man, you got it. Even now, we're around people that make us want to level up.
Yeah.
That make us want to push harder. And it's really, our 4 pillars, Duncan, it's never been the same, but it's all anchored with, first, no judgment. But, starting, staying consistent, being consistent, understanding nobody's perfect. You're going to fall down. You're going to fall off the wagon. That's life. You got to keep getting up. That's consistency. Third thing, being around good people. This journey's hard enough without being around people that drag you down all the time. And the last thing's no excuses.
Yeah.
That's all underpinned by having a very strong why and purpose. When I started, I had nothing, no money, no family, and I was just out walking. What kept me going was I'd envisioned my why was being at the airport and waiting for my children, waiting for my sons. I'd imagine the embrace when they ran through the arrival gate.
Yeah.
That's what I used to get me through. Anytime life was tough, I'd imagine that. And that's what you've got to do.
Yeah, and it's a remarkable embrace and a remarkable bounce back, Dave. You know, I'm really proud of you. I really admire you, and you know that, and think that you deserve all the success that you've got, mate. It's been a great turnaround. Awesome chatting, man. I know you're a busy boy. I know you got things to do, so I'll leave you there. But thanks, Dave. Appreciate it, mate.
Appreciate you, Duncan.
Editor-in-Chief with Duncan Garner.